G'day guys, Dan Barrett here from Big Smoke Barbecue and Four Monkeys. Today I just wanted to talk about this little point end brisket I got down at my local supermarket down at Coles. It's good to see them getting on board with the low and slow trend, and you see more of these cuts available down at your local supermarket. Now I just wanted to show that you don't need to go out and spend $100 or $150 on a 5 to 6 or 7 kilo brisket to feed the family, when you can go down and get this little kilo and a half nugget point end brisket, and it's going to cook up perfectly for the family, and I'm going to show you how to do it today. Alright guys, so what I said before, we've got a point end brisket here. It's running about 2 kilos, so it's going to be perfect to feed the small family, and you're not going to have huge amounts of leftovers. So what we're going to do is start by, on the underside, you're going to get rid of all this fat just by taking your knife underneath like so, and just slowly working your way through it and taking all that crap off. No one's going to want to eat it, it's not going to taste very nice, probably not going to render out. There is a fat vein that runs through the two muscles between the point and the flat. You'll see it down here. You take any real heavy stuff out, but anything that's sort of way in there, don't even bother, because you're going to end up separating the two muscles. It's going to fall apart. So now that's pretty cleaned up underneath, we're going to flip it over into the top side. Now there's not a lot of fat on this side as it is, so I'm going to leave all that on there. The only thing I'm going to get rid of is any of this slimy stuff here. You see, anything you're not going to want to eat, just take off. There's no real right or wrong way to trim this, as everyone has their own ways. This is just the way that I like to do it. Okay, that is ready to be rubbed. Alright guys, what I'm going to use is this Four Monkeys beef rub today on this little point end brisket. It's a great rub, it's had a lot of success on the circuit and at home, like all our rubs. I'm going to be cooking this on the GMG today at about 300, so I'm going to be cooking it pretty high, so it shouldn't take too long. It is a brisket for home, so I'm not going to bother injecting it. If I was going to be doing it for competition or stuff like that, I'd definitely be injecting it. But just today, because it's a home cook, I'm just gonna rub it in our Four Monkeys beef rub, and that's going to be all it's going to be needing. So, starting on the other side, it's a big bit of meat, so you can go crazy. There's, you're not going to be able to over-season this piece of meat. Just hitting all sides 2 or 3 times. Just dab up anything that's dropped on the board, like so. And that is ready for the pit. I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes as usual, let the rub really adhere to the meat. I'm going to get the pit fired up now while this sits here, and we'll be back soon. Alright guys, it's been about 20 minutes now. The GMG is rolling about 300 degrees Fahrenheit on the dot. Brisket's been sitting for about 20 minutes. It's looking sensational. The rub's really adhered to the meat. Now, there's nothing left to do but to chuck it on. We're going to let that roll for about 2-3 hours before we even look at it again, and let the GMG do its thing. Alright guys, check this sucker out right here. This little quarter brisket, this little half brisket, it has been on for about 4 hours now. It looks sensational. It's barked up beautifully. I'm very, very happy with this. Now we're happy with the colour. We're just going to wrap it up, and all we're going to put in the wrap is some butter, just on top like so. You can never have too much butter. Honestly, that's looking sensational. We're going to wrap it up like that. Close one end off. And we're going to get some beef stock, pop it in the end, probably about 1/4 cup. You don't have to do this. This is just personal preference. I prefer it this way. Wrap it up nice and tight, and that goes back on the pit for probably about another couple of hours still, until it gets really, really tender. But yeah, so far this is looking sensational. Let's go. Righto guys, check this out. It's been about another hour and a half, and I've just pulled it off because I know it is just where I want it to be. I'm going to open this up and show you. It's looking perfect. There's lots of bark on it, and it's probing about 206 degrees Fahrenheit internal. But more importantly, scrap all that, You can tell just by probing it like this that it's super soft, it's super tender. It's done. It's right where we want it to be. That's how you want it to feel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up, let it sit for about an hour. I know everyone wants to tuck in now, but let it sit for about an hour. Trust me, it'll make it all worthwhile. So let it sit for about an hour, cover it up, and then we'll come back and slice it up. All right, so I waited about 45 minutes. I can't wait anymore. I just need to dig in. It looks so good. It smells amazing. So I'm going to take this brisket slicer, let's go straight in half. And look at that. I'll tell you what, for a little supermarket job, to feed the family, you don't need to go out and buy $180 on a whole brisket. This little point end here, it's sensational and it's come up a treat. I mean, look at that. Absolutely stunning. I've got to try a bit. Wow. I'm telling you, bloody amazing. Follow these rules. Do them at home. You're not gonna, geez, that's pretty good. The family is gonna eat that up, I'll tell you. Lap that up. Just falls apart. Don't know if you can pick that up. Bloody sensational. Well, thanks for tuning in anyway. Hopefully you've learned something today, and you can give this a crack at home. You don't need to buy a 4 or 5 kilo brisket to feed the family. You can just go to your local supermarket, find a little kilo point end brisket and go from there. Thanks guys, thanks for tuning in. Right. Oh.